flying no drones here, mate.
I'd like to see you stop me, mate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get away from my property, all right?
Why? I'm stepping over there.
Why?
Previously, we looked at DJ Audits' visit to Taylor Wimpey Logistics in Kingston Park, just outside Peterborough. In fact, he'd been there before, 2 years previously with PJ Audits, but he returned, paid them another visit. And on the same day as his revisit to Taylor Wimpey Logistics, he also decided to visit Taylor Wimpey Manufacturing, which is situated at the other side of the same business park. It would certainly be remiss of me not to cover that too, and ask the question, what have Taylor Wimpey done to deserve this?
We went to Taylor Wimpey Logistics down there for the second time because we've been here before with PJ Audits years ago. And in fact, as shown on the screen, this was all still being built back then. You could not come up here, but now it is very publicly accessible.
This is where he is, and he's not on the public highway because Peterborough City Council have told me that Stanham Way is not an adopted highway. So we're immediately faced with a problem. Is he entitled to be where he is? Never mind record there. Those of you who have watched my previous videos on highway law will recall that even if a road is not adopted, it could still be a highway. So in principle, we do have the possibility that even if DJ Audits is not stood on the public highway, he is still stood on the King's Highway and so still has the right to be there.
And we've just seen the police come up and down and have a good look as they drove past. So we may be seeing them again. Now, where does their site start? Because as you can see, this pavement just continues down here, look.
That's not an unreasonable question, but it's a wrong question. The precise position of the notional property boundary is immaterial to the question of trespass. The questions DJ Audit should be asking himself are, first, is Stanham Way an adopted highway? If it is not, then can it still be considered a highway? And assuming it is still a highway, where does the highway end and private access start? It is likely that even if Stanham Way is a highway, the highway does end before those gates and the fence. The only sure way to determine this would be to ask the local highways authority, and sometimes it is also necessary to check property deeds. It's also important to consider the surrounding facts. The usual signs that a private road is also a highway are that it is publicly accessible with no signs of a barrier or other physical obstructions to entry, and or the road is of a kind that the public would use to access other roads. To give some examples, a private unadopted road that is a cul-de-sac might well not be a highway, even if there is no barrier of any kind, because it doesn't lead anywhere, and so it is not likely to be one that the public would use. In that case, it may be that it is what is called a private street, which is a private road that is not adopted and is not a highway. In my view, Stanham Way is not a highway because, despite there being no physical barrier at the entrance point, it only leads to two industrial premises, a company called FLX and a Taylor Wimpey manufacturing complex, thus does not appear to be intended for public use. For the purpose of affording DJ Audits the fullest latitude, we could just about make the argument for Stanham Way as an unadopted highway on the basis that it could attract learner drivers and dog walkers and people like that. I think this is stretching things, but let's make that assumption anyway. In view of this, instead of saying that the entirety of Stanham Way is a private street, let's proceed on the assumption that most of Stanham Way is potentially an unadopted highway, but the highway probably ends here at the junction with the roundabout, or it may end somewhere along the accessway, perhaps here where I've drawn the line. In any event, DJ Audits is not on sure ground legally. I expect he will try to walk right up to the gates, but I doubt the highway goes right up to the gate, and he should also bear in mind that a property boundary for premises of this type will usually be somewhere in front of the gate and fence. It's typically not marked by the gate and fence structure itself. DJ Audits is making the erroneous assumption that keeping to his rights is just a matter of not straying beyond the physical boundary of the site, the position of which is usually evident and obvious. But it's not quite as simple as that, as I hope you now realise. It's much more complicated than he thinks. The next question then is whether the accessway itself is a highway or a private street. I would say it is a private street because although there is no physical barrier, it only leads to the Taylor Wimpey premises and nowhere else. The Taylor Wimpey premises is a manufacturing facility, and so it is not public facing and is not going to be used by the public. And since it's also quite new, there is no possibility of public use having been recorded over many years. Furthermore, you'll see that the road markings continue into the site, which suggests to me that at least some of the road markings have been put there by Taylor Wimpey, and in any case that the road markings are not determinant of the legal status of the road. I think it's a private street, most likely from the junction with the roundabout, but possibly from somewhere along the accessway.
Let's have a quick look at this sign before we go past it. Taylor Wimpey Manufacturing. So maybe where they prefabricate the wooden structures?
In the hands of a genuine person, this could potentially be a very interesting place to record. In the hands of DJ Audits, the aim isn't to arouse our interest in British industry, rather it's to wind people up for cheap entertainment. He now makes a few redundant observations about the premises and goings on there. I'll jump ahead a bit.
So this pavement just continues down, look. So I would say you can come all the way down to their gate and their fence.
I don't agree that it's clear, and to be fair, I think given that this man calls himself an auditor, I would expect greater perspicacity than this. I'm of the view that he is on a private street and trespassing.
Obviously stay out of this area because it's just going to cause an obstruction, isn't it? And a health and safety concern to them.
Well, I'm glad he's been a bit more sensible. The DJ Audits of old would have just walked on the site, and when challenged he would have claimed he wasn't trespassing because the gate was open. That would then have kicked off an argument and drama, and that would have been his video.
Yeah, lots of weeds. Nobody's looking after this.
It's at this point that he's approached by security.
You okay? Yeah. Yeah, what's up?
Taking pictures?
Yeah. I've not seen this before. It's all quite new to me.
It's quite new to you.
Yeah.
Okay, you can take and you can do everything you needed, but you cannot get in. After the fence is not allowed to pass through in the site.
That seems fair enough to me. Right, so that's the end of the audit, yes?
Right. Just stay on this side of the fence, yeah?
Yeah.
What about the drone? Just take the drone down just to have a little look with the camera.
Oh yeah, I forgot. He's got to fly his drone, hasn't he?
I'll stay above the roof height with the drone. I'll just go down just for the video.
You can do everything you needed if you stay here outside.
Even the drone can go in, yeah?
Not allowed inside the drone. Drone not allowed inside.
Oh, we're going to have a problem then.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. I've covered this topic in some depth now, including in the previous video about DJ Audits at this same business park, so I won't be quoting the law chapter and verse again. Instead, let's just summarise the legal position. First, it's now established law in England that, regardless of the height of a drone, if the drone interferes with lawful activity on site, that is an aerial trespass. Second, recent case law suggests that flying a surveillance drone over premises to capture clear recordings of going on at the site could, in itself, amount to a trespass because to do so could be considered an interference in lawful activity on site, especially if the drone is flown in the face of objections. Again, this is regardless of the height at which the drone is flown. I only say it could be a trespass because it does turn on the facts of each situation, of course. Third, any trespass, including aerial trespass, that is committed with the intent to cause obstruction, disruption or intimidation of people on site, including aerial trespass, is considered aggravated trespass, which is an offence. Fourth, when flying a drone in the open category, it is a criminal offence not to keep the drone within visual line of sight. Fifth, auditing falls within data protection, and auditors are required to register as data controllers and to provide their identity and state their purpose and intentions for the footage to any individual who may be identifiable in their footage. Finally, capturing someone's facial image will normally be deemed to make them identifiable and therefore is considered to be the processing of personal data and falls within data protection. For the record, DJ Audits has attempted to register himself as a data controller. The odd thing about it is that he's done it in the name of his company rather than himself, which I think raises a question mark about whether he's compliant. The other odd thing about it is that DJ Audits and other auditors have spent the last 3 years telling everybody that I was talking a load of rot about data protection. If I was talking out of my hat, then why does your company registration include DJ Audits?
I've got to do that. I've got to make a little video for YouTube on this new building, manufacturing.
You don't have to do anything. Personally, if this wasn't an auditor, I wouldn't have a great issue with him flying a drone where he wants, as long as he took account of any objections and challenges from the owner. The issue is the motivation behind it and the overbearing attitude that DJ Audits has, which is to think that his wishes override everybody else's.
That's information I've been given.
Yeah.
I've been told, not now, before something happened, but that's what people gave me to do if you come. I was expecting any minute now, but not today.
Here we go again. DJ Audits is again breaking the law, specifically Section 48 of the Wireless Telegraphy Act 2006, by listening in on radio communications that are not meant for general reception. I went over this in some depth in the last video about DJ Audits. I won't do it again here. He is committing an offence. I'm going to skip ahead again now.
For drone, yeah. I don't think you're allowed to fly here.
No, I think I'm not allowed.
No, yeah, I'll double check with Patrick here. I don't think so.
Danielle? Hi, you're on private property. Well, as soon as you're off that roundabout, you're on private property.
Can't eat, sorry.
You're on private property as soon as you're off that roundabout. You're actually on private property now.
This lady must be referring to the roundabout immediately in front of the premises. This one. What she's saying aligns with what I said earlier, so I sort of agree with her, but she's not quite using the right terminology. As I mentioned before, it's not really a question, at least not first and foremost, of where the notional boundary is. It's more a matter of where the highway ends, and whether any stretch of private road there may be can be regarded as highway. The answers to those questions are what tell us where DJ Audits is and isn't supposed to be, and I think they tell us that from the junction with the roundabout he is trespassing, whether he intends to do so or not. The entirety of Stannon Way is unadopted and only serves two sites, the Taylor Wimpey industrial site and the site next door called FLX. Thus, even though there is no barrier at the first roundabout, it is quite likely that Stannon Way can be treated as not intended for the public and therefore should be regarded as a private street. However, to afford DJ Audits maximum latitude, we are adopting the assumption that most of Stannon Way is in fact an unadopted highway. I don't really believe that's the case, but I'm going to err on his side just to be fair about it. That leaves the only question remaining, which is what is the status of this access way to site that comes off the final roundabout? Here are the facts to consider. The access way only serves that one site. The road markings extend beyond the gates and into the site. From those two facts alone, my view is that the highway probably ends at the roundabout, and if that is the case, the access way is not a highway, even though there is no barrier. It is a private street. That's the assumption I will make in this video, as it's consistent with the facts and it's backed up by somebody who appears to have local knowledge of the site and the estate. It should also be noted that even if we agree with DJ Audits and say he's still on a highway, the right of the public over a highway is to pass and repass. He doesn't have the right to launch a drone from there. The legal position is that common law allows the public a right of passage over highways, whether adopted or not. However, this right is either for passage for the purposes of legitimate travel or peaceful lawful assembly. Any other use, such as for the taking off and landing of a drone, would be a trespass, and consent should therefore be sought from the relevant highways authority. Of course, one would rarely, if ever, press this point because it would interfere in civil liberties, so nobody is suggesting that a photographer or vlogger should be stopped from going round recording premises. But in the case of auditors, there may be a justification for pressing the point and finally passing common law highway rights because auditors are not engaged in a legitimate activity. Just one other point before we go on. DJ Audits does try to blur out this lady's face throughout his own footage. I wish auditors would do that as a matter of course. They don't, and I think this is the first time I have known DJ Audits to do this. But even then, her face is still shown in the footage at points, so I've taken the step to blur her out fully at certain points in this video. But the faces of the other staff are kept in. I've kept them in as well. I've made that decision. The reality is that this lady and these other people do nothing wrong. They have nothing to be embarrassed about. Throughout the footage you'll see that they just do their jobs facing the difficult task of dealing with an idiot.
I'm just making a little video, I'm not doing them harm.
No, it's PLC, you can't.
Please.
No, it's not. It's not up
This is
to
private
us.
property.
No one else has got a problem with it, just you.
What do you mean no one else?
Oh, he hasn't.
He's a security guard.
He had to secure
I'm
the
a manager.
place. You've been employed in for a reason.
This is private property. Once you get off that roundabout, you're not allowed to be here.
Yeah, but am I doing any harm?
That isn't a question. You are not allowed to be here.
This lady is just telling him the facts, and you'll note that DJ Audits isn't disputing the facts of what she's saying. In effect, he's pleading with her for permission to continue recording.
You're not visible to the premises, to the business, therefore you're not allowed to be on site. Simple as that.
I'm just doing a YouTube video, that's all.
It's fine, but I have a manager, he has a manager, they have a manager, we have an owner.
Right.
That is our instruction. Nobody is allowed to be on site that hasn't got pre-authorised okay to do so.
The company is entitled to set its conditions of entry. What's less clear and complicates matters is that since DJ Audits is stood outside the gates and fence and on the accessway, we have to ask exactly whose land DJ Audits is currently on. I say it is a private street. But does the estate owner own this private street, or is it Taylor Wimpey's land that they presumably lease from the estate owner? Let's just assume for the moment that she's wrong. This could be considered a technicality because even if the accessway is owned by the estate owner, Taylor Wimpey potentially would still have the right to enforce against trespass by DJ Audits. What the lady says in that the notional boundary is at the roundabout may well be correct because often business parks are freeholder schemes in which, in this case, Taylor Wimpey would own that part of the estate road that adjoins their premises. Therefore, naturally, in that situation, they would simply be enforcing against a trespass as owner. But let's assume for the moment that this lady is incorrect and the boundary is not at the roundabout. Perhaps the estate owner owns that accessway. Well, this could be considered a technicality because even if the accessway is owned by the estate owner, Taylor Wimpey potentially would still have the right to enforce against trespass by DJ Audits, including to physically eject him from the road as a trespasser or bring a claim for trespass. A simple legal basis for physical ejectment would be that the tenant, in this case Taylor Wimpey, is assumed to be acting as agent for the estate owner and could, if necessary, obtain ex post facto confirmation of authority, though of course there would be a difficulty if a landlord refused to confirm this authority. But I think this authority can still stand even on the basis of the business occupier, Taylor Wimpey, having a licence over that part of the private estate road rather than owning it. The legal authority for this is the 2000 case of Manchester Airport plc and Dutton, in which the Court of Appeal confirmed that a licensee can bring a claim for trespass. In effect, what the Court of Appeal was saying in that ruling is that a licensee can sue for possession even when it has not even gone into occupation of the land. Lord Justice Laws had this to say in Dutton: "In my judgment, the true principle is that a licensee not in occupation may claim possession against a trespasser if that is a necessary remedy to vindicate and give effect to such rights of occupation as by contract with his licensor he enjoys. This is the same principle as allows a licensee who is in de facto possession to evict a trespasser. In every case, the question must be what is the reach of the right, and whether it is shown that the defendant's acts violate its enjoyment. The Dutton judgment does not address the self-help remedy, i.e. physical ejectment, but there would seem no reason in principle why it would not extend to that remedy too. So there you are, big boy, with your green tracky bottoms.
All I want to do, half an hour, get some footage on the
There's
outside.
no negotiation.
No, I'm just telling you, being open and honest, then you can do whatever you need to do afterwards.
I don't need to do anything.
No, because
you're not allowed to be here.
You believe I'm trespassing, but I'm not moving because I'm here for half an hour doing a video, 10 minutes with the drone, just going around.
Well, we'll call the police to remove you then.
I know, but you need to give them the information that I'm telling you now. So it's going to be here for half an hour. It's a YouTube video.
But we don't have to permit any of that.
No, I'm not asking for your permission. I'm just giving you the information because the police will ask, or your boss will ask.
Or you could just make it a lot easier and just go.
He does require their permission, and they are refusing him permission. It's pretty straightforward, really. He has to leave. That means he has to return to the roundabout immediately behind him. If he wants to record and fly a surveillance drone from that position, that's another conversation. It could well still be a trespass, perhaps also even an aggravated trespass, to fly the drone even from there. But for now, he's refusing even to make that modest retreat. He stood on their property.
Well, I've been fair. Do you know why? Because I've stayed this side of your gate.
But the private property starts from the roundabout.
Yeah, but as long as I feel that I've been fair.
It's not a matter of whether you feel you've been fair. Your feelings don't come into it, nor do your thoughts, to the extent you ever do use your noggin. You're trespassing. That's the top and bottom of it. You're not permitted to be where you are.
By staying what
So
I believe
stay
is
on the roundabout then.
I know that's what you're saying. You're the manager, but you're not my manager. So I've took my own assessment of the situation, and I've told myself if I stay this side of your gate and your fence.
But you're ignoring my guidance.
Yeah, guidance, isn't it? No, it's not an order.
Well, no, because like you said, I'm not your boss.
Yeah. So I'm glad we got there. I've done my best by staying off your site.
None of that is the point. I don't quite agree with what this lady says. As a representative of the company, she is entitled to tell him what to do and not do for as long as he is on the company's property. Obviously that's within reason. She can't tell him to wear a red nose, stand on his head and juggle with his feet. But she can tell him that he can't record and has to leave, if those are the conditions of entry, which they are.
I know you believe I'm still on your site.
You are.
But maybe the police can tell you otherwise or stick up for you.
No, because the line is there.
Yeah, so if somebody's on your site, how would you remove them from the site?
We would ask them politely to leave.
Yeah.
You employ security.
Yeah.
He can remove them.
But we were asking you politely to leave.
Yeah, I've declined that because I'm not on your site. But you believe
you
I am.
are.
I know you believe I am.
You are on their property. It's so obvious that he wants them to either try to remove him by force or call the police or both, so that he then has clickbait content.
This is where you've gone wrong.
I don't
So-
believe we've gone wrong at all.
Yeah, you don't believe it, but eventually you'll find out that you are wrong.
Why would we find out that we're wrong when we know that our site begins there?
I don't think you know that. Have you seen the red boundary
Yes.
line?
Yes.
I believe
All
you're
of our
wrong.
services are there.
Yeah, I agree. I believe you're wrong. No disrespect, but I need to make my video and I need to do it from here.
No, you don't.
No, you can't.
Is she the manager?
Yeah.
Why don't you leave it to her?
Why don't you not disrespect my staff?
Okay, let's have a conversation. So what are you saying, my friend? I'm not allowed to do it?
No.
Why's that?
She said so.
I've just spoke to her about it, but then you got involved. Look, do you want a discussion or not?
You're just here to be obstructive.
I completely agree, and even if it turns out that he's right about where the highway is, he could, for the sake of social peace, retreat to the roundabout and still make a recording of the site, if that's what really interests him. Of course, that's not what interests him. What interests him is causing trouble so that he has something his brainless fans can watch.
Okay, in that case, I'm walking back, I'm disengaging, because I don't want you to think I'm here just for an argument. I just want to make my video, that's all.
But you're not disengaging because you're staying put on land that you've been told you have no right to be on.
Thank you.
But we say that there's no videos allowed. We're doing a
Oh.
we're obstructive, and you need to
Are we
leave.
going over this again?
You need to leave.
I'm not leaving. Do what you need to do.
Okay.
I'm not on your site.
They do need to notify the police.
So there we go. The manager gone back to extinguish her cigarette, I believe. Oh, no. She's just chilling. Oh, she's on her phone, like, getting on her phone. Yeah, I don't know why he wanted to get involved.
Well, he works there. Why wouldn't he get involved? Do you get to decide who deals with you?
Security knows exactly what's going on, but he stayed quiet to let his colleagues embarrass themselves. I don't know. Very unusual here. But we've already showed the arrival and how this pavement just comes all the way down there. I don't know. So anyway, let's get David up.
Let's get David up, eh? Show us what you got, big boy.
And see what this place looks like from above.
From above. Let's take a look at you, big boy. Let's see what you got.
Stop it. Get some help.
Yes, I know, Michael. It's those green tracky bottoms that do it for me. Sexy as.
No drones here, mate.
I'd like to see you stop me, mate.
The onus here is on DJ Audits to justify his actions. He's nowhere near the roundabout. He is on Taylor Wimpey property.
I would love to see you stop there, right? Get near my property or try and touch it, I will defend it. There's your warning.
Before you start everything, please just wait.
No, I've waited long enough.
Home point updated.
Would you mind asking to come down to reception, please? It's urgent.
It may be that DJ Audits is also eavesdropping on their radio communications there. I'm not sure if that's his radio scanner or one of their radios, but more on that in a few moments. He's now causing other staff from the business to become involved. Just make a note of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get away from my property, alright?
Let's just watch that again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get away from my property, alright?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get away from my property, alright?
That's an assault by beating, contrary to common law or Section 39 of the Criminal Justice Act 1988. There was simply no possible excuse or justification. It wasn't self-defence.
I'm stepping over here.
Why?
You're getting too close to the drone then?
No.
You know you did.
This is what actually happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get away from my property.
What we actually saw there was DJ Audits place the drone nearer to the two staff members. At that point, the staff member on the left seemed to make a move closer to DJ Audits, even if he were too close to the drone. However that's supposed to be defined or determined, that is not an excuse or justification for the assault. At all times, DJ Audits can move away from the staff members or ask them to step away from the drone. If they follow him, he can reposition himself at the roundabout and fly his drone from there, where he is no longer trespassing on Taylor Wimpey land.
Oh, yeah.
No, just touch him. He didn't do anything.
Let's see what he does this time. You endorse this, do you? You endorse this behaviour?
At all times, DJ Audits has the option of leaving Taylor Wimpey land and flying his drone from a different location. If you stop and think about it, his behaviour is nonsensical.
You think it's acceptable?
Don't touch anyone.
I'm not flying above your
It's
property.
self-defence, idiot.
Self-defense.
It wasn't self-defence. I covered the law on self-defence in the last video. There was no physical threat to DJ Audits or his property. It was just a straightforward assault. There is no physical threat to DJ Audits or his property now. He can just pick up his drone, move to the roundabout and fly it from there. Whether that would amount to an aerial trespass is another conversation, as I said earlier, but the point has been clearly conveyed to him that he should retreat to the roundabout, and there is a basis for that request.
Self-defense. I didn't raise a finger at you.
Okay.
Go on.
Over we go.
Now DJ Audits is flying a surveillance drone over the Taylor Wimpey site, and he is doing this while trespassing on Taylor Wimpey land and in defiance of objections from Taylor Wimpey.
Danielle.
I'm sure now that that's DJ Audits' scanner, so on top of everything else, he's still committing an offence contrary to Section 48 of the Wireless Telegraphy Act 2006, in that he is listening in on radio communications that are not meant for general reception.
Flying over our property.
Right.
As usual, clear and detailed images of site are being captured, which is not at all the same as what will be captured by Google, for instance, or some other authorised aerial surveillance. So in my view, when you take into account the objections which he has continued in defiance of, and also the fact that he is trespassing where he stood and has refused to leave, and also taking into account his intention in being there, which can be inferred from his YouTube content, I think this adds up to an aerial trespass as well, and an aggravated trespass, and an aerial aggravated trespass.
Now we can actually fly in peace. Let's show you exactly where we are. The pavement continues from the roundabout look, which is all publicly accessible, and the only boundary that you see is, as agreed by security, the gate, and the pedestrian gate.
Security did not agree with that. What he's failing to understand, a pretty fundamental point, is that just because somewhere is publicly accessible, it does not follow that it is legal to access that place. It can still be trespass. This is a fundamental erroneous belief that underpins pretty much all auditing activity. He thinks the boundary is along here where I've put the red line, which in his mind implies that the highway extends fully along that accessway right up to the gates and fence. That's not how it works. As I've explained exhaustively, the notional position of the boundary is not terribly relevant to this specific point. The boundary could be anywhere, especially if what he says is true, because the boundary could start here at the roundabout, and it could still be a highway right up to the gates and fence, meaning it wouldn't matter and he would not be trespassing. The issue is where the highway ends. I think it's very unlikely that the highway goes right up to the gates and fence. First, that's not typically how a highway would be arranged in reality. Second, a private road that is also a highway would usually lead somewhere, whereas here the accessway just leads to Taylor Wimpey and it's their manufacturing plant, not their sales office or something else public facing, so the public won't be accessing it. For all the reasons I've explained, it's likely DJ Audits is trespassing. The fact that a staff member holds a view about the position of a boundary that aligns with what I'm saying, she thinks it starts at the junction with the roundabout, only serves to reinforce the analysis I have provided. I think she means where the public highway ends, in which case I would agree with her. I think right now DJ Audits is trespassing and committing aggravated trespass.
Members of staff believe they have some sort of authority and can get as close to my drone where they could cause damage to it.
That's just your supposition. It doesn't amount to a defence to the assault you committed earlier. It's also important to note that even if I'm wrong about the extent of the highway and any privately maintained highway, which I could be, DJ Audits should still have to answer for the assault and the aerial trespass and aerial aggravated trespass, and furthermore, he may still be trespassing as of now anyway on the basis that he is abusing his common law highway rights.
I don't think so, my friend. I don't think so. But we have got them approaching now, look. Once again.
You're on private property. You can't use your drone over our property, mate.
I can.
Sorry.
I can.
No, you can't.
I can.
I completely agree with what the staff member is saying. They are perfectly entitled to object, more so as he's still stood on a private street and still trespassing.
No, you can't. We're calling the police.
That's fine. The police will tell you that you're wrong as well.
They could dial 999 as it's an offence in progress, and as long as they emphasise to the emergency operator that nobody on site is at risk of harm, I think it is a proper use of the emergency response service, and it's then down to the police to decide on an appropriate response. But in my view, they should attend and they should be arresting DJ Audits or reporting him on summons for assault and aggravated trespass.
No, but this is our private property. You can't fly your drone above.
I know that's what you believe. I'm telling you you're wrong.
Okay,
the police
prove
will
to me
educate
I'm
you.
wrong. Prove to me I'm wrong.
If I bring my drone down and prove to you that you're wrong,
Okay. Yeah.
will you leave me alone?
No, but you can't.
Well, what's the point of me doing it then? Will you leave me alone if I bring my drone down and show you on the internet?
No.
Well, what's the point then?
This is a private property. You can't fly your drone.
The internet doesn't defeat property rights.
Educate yourself, my friend.
You speak to Alex.
Just educate yourself before you come out here embarrassing the company.
Okay.
I think you'll find that you're the one who needs to be educated, DJ Audits. Even if by some small chance you happen to be right that you're still on the highway, you're only right by accident, not because you actually know anything, and you've still committed an assault, an aerial aggravated trespass.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we've got a guy here who's flying a drone over our property, and we're actually trying to get him off, and he says he's got a right to fly a drone over our property.
It's only for YouTube. We're not breaking in.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So Richard, they won't even call the police and they won't be able to do anything.
They just need to back away and leave it to the police, but they also need a follow-up plan for if, as is likely, the police decide not to take further action. And that plan should be to put together an evidence file consisting of their own body-worn camera and CCTV footage and witness statements from whoever encountered DJ Audits. Then pass that to their solicitors for advice on what, if any, civil and criminal remedies are available. And if the solicitors confirm my opinion that there is criminal liability on DJ Audits, then the solicitors should contact the police on behalf of the company to press for an investigation. At that point, they should also seek a civil injunction against DJ Audits that he must not return to or approach or record any Taylor Wimpey premises anywhere in the country, on the basis that by uploading this footage to YouTube, he has engaged in a course of conduct that harasses the company and individual staff, and they should seek recovery of their legal costs from DJ Audits. Companies like Taylor Wimpey could also warn YouTube that unless something is done about auditing, they will withdraw their advertising from that platform and any other platform that allows rogues to go around harassing workers and businesses. It may seem that all that work is making a lot of something trivial, but that sort of firm and positive action would stop this trend in its tracks. Unless these companies take a stand against this, their staff will continue to be abused and exploited like this.
But this is the thing, how do we measure those 50 factors?
I think that radio noise is again from DJ Audit's scanner. He's still breaking the law by eavesdropping on them, and he's doing it right in front of them.
Okay, right, so do me a favour, mate, okay? So I've just spoken to one of our security companies. Obviously, there's nothing we can do to stop you, but you have to get off our property.
I'm not on your property.
You are. From the roundabout to this side is the property of Taylor Wimpey.
That's two people who've confirmed that that's the position. By the way, I can well understand why the security company have given the advice that nothing can be done to stop him filming. The security company won't be fully apprised of the situation just from one quick phone call. And anyway, it is consistent with what the other lady said to DJ Audits, which is that if he retreats to the roundabout, he can record and fly his drone from there. That's perfectly reasonable, and it's a smart thing to do to offer that concession because it then makes DJ Audits look all the more unreasonable, which he is.
So you was wrong about being able to fly...
No.
Hold on, let me speak. I've let you speak.
Okay.
I didn't interrupt you.
Okay.
You told me I'm not allowed to fly the drone over your property. You've
Yes.
just been educated.
Yes.
You're now telling me...
Better.
You're now telling me I'm on your property.
Yes.
I'm not. Please get educated on that matter as well.
No, you own our property. This is a private property.
Okay, let me explain.
Okay?
Where are your gates?
They're here.
At night, where do you close your gates?
There.
Over there. So
But
at
this is a
night,
private property.
at night, can the public come down here?
No, they
and-
can't.
Hold on. Is there anything stopping the public coming
Yes.
down? Is there anything?
This is a private property.
The staff member is 100% correct in my view. It's likely that the highway ends at the junction with the roundabout, but regardless of whether the premise is right or wrong, you can again appreciate the fundamental misconception that DJ Audits has about the law, which he has promoted for several years now, and by doing so he's just spreading ignorance. He's not doing the public a service. He thinks that if somewhere is publicly accessible, that means the public can lawfully access it. That is not the case. That is an erroneous assumption that has no basis in law. It is, however, true that if the public can access a particular roadway, it is quite likely then that that roadway is a highway of some sort. But in this case, although there is no barrier to the accessway, as I've explained, only serves Taylor Wimpey. Thus it is very likely that the accessway is a private street.
This is a private road.
If you disrespect me by not allowing me to complete my sentence...
Well, everybody should be afforded a minimum level of respect in the sense that they should be addressed in a civil manner, and you are being addressed in a civil manner. You're not being insulted, whereas you have insulted these people. You've called at least one of them an idiot. This staff member in the pink shirt is being very professional and civil in his manner. If his tone is becoming more agitated, I would suggest that is only to be expected given that he's having to deal with an idiot. But he is still being respectful.
Is there anything stopping the members of the public coming down here on a dog walk, turning round with their vehicle?
The answer to that is no, there is nothing to stop them doing that, but it is still likely to be a trespass. There you are, simple.
Obviously, your fences and your boundary is visible and it's obvious, yeah?
Okay.
It's obvious that that's your private property here. Right. You have not made it obvious to me, as I approach, that this is private property.
That's not the point. You've been told. You've been told repeatedly, and you're refusing to obey the instructions given. That's what turns what otherwise would be a nugatory trespass and a mere trifle into an actionable trespass and even a criminal matter. Every second you now stay on that land, you are just digging a deeper hole for yourself.
So on that basis, it's classed as, in law as publicly accessible.
There is no such classification in law, but I think he is accidentally landing on a semi-valid point that we've covered already, which is one of the key determining questions as to whether a stretch of road is a highway. But it's not whether the road is publicly accessible, it is whether the road is used or intended to be used by the public. Obviously, the physical accessibility of a road comes into that. It is of some relevance, what he's saying. But it's not the only factor, because a private street could exist without physical barriers to entry, and I think that is the case here. The error I think he is falling into, which is quite common, is to become fixated on one factor and not consider everything in the round. If you look at the whole situation and weigh it up, it is unlikely that the accessway is a highway, though I also accept it is possible.
So I can be here, dog walkers can be here. Would you dream about coming out and saying, excuse me, you can't walk your dog around here, go back to the roundabout? You wouldn't.
Well, perhaps not, because that would be a trifling matter. But let's develop that hypothetical further. Let's imagine that this dog walker is doing this every day. It is the case that any trespass, no matter how trivial, is still an injury to the company, and the company has to enforce its rights in land. Otherwise, those rights could be treated as eroded over time. So potentially, there could come a point when the management would have to ask the security team to watch out for any dog walkers and warn them that it is private land and they should not be there and should not return there. Further action may be necessary if dog walkers ignore those instructions. The reason DJ Audits is being challenged is because he's not just a harmless, benign person who has accidentally stumbled in there. He's there to harass the company and its staff.
So don't choose, just because I'm doing something lawful that you might not like, that you now want to revoke my access, because you can't do it, my friend, and I'll fight it.
They can revoke it, and what you're doing is neither lawful nor legal. You have no business there at all.
You are, you're asking me to leave.
But this is a private property. However you look at it, it's still a private property.
Is it a public highway?
It's not a public road.
Okay, so can I be here on a vehicle without insurance, tax and MOT?
Yes, you can't be on this road.
Oh, I can be here without...
Yes, we can...
without a licence as well?
Absolutely. We can get someone to clump your car.
So you're allowing people to come down here without tax, MOT and insurance,
No.
The police will not allow it, mate.
We're getting off track, aren't we? But I think with due respect, that gentleman is in error in what he's now saying. Section 192 of the Road Traffic Act 1988 defines a road as follows. In relation to England and Wales, means any highway and any other road to which the public has access. Even if we're right and DJ Audits is stood on a private street, the Road Traffic Act still applies because there is no physical barrier. The public do have access. So in that respect, in terms of road traffic law, public accessibility is a factor to consider, and it means that anyone driving along there must obey road traffic laws.
Look, let me explain. A service station. The road going into the a road going into the service station. Yes, it's private property, but the public have unrestricted access to this area.
Not to this area.
The police have the authority here.
Okay.
Your guy and your representatives have the authority past your fence.
In terms of road traffic law, DJ Audits is correct in what he says there, but don't allow that to lead you into the same misunderstanding that he has. To use his analogy, he thinks that he could refuse to leave the service station if asked because, after all, it's publicly accessible.
Let me explain something to you. The roundabout, is there any other business here?
Yes, FLX.
FLX doesn't go around, don't come down this side. They go around the other side. So this is a private property.
There you see the staff member making a similar point to mine, that the accessway only serves Taylor Wimpey, and I agree that this is a vital consideration.
What if maintenance people want to come round here and get to FLX? You have to allow access.
Of course they do, and that will be provided for in the leases of both premises. What's that got to do with you trespassing?
Okay. We don't allow access to people that are not a part of Taylor Wimpey.
You don't have the choice.
Yes, we do have a choice.
Well, okay, I'm refusing to leave because on the basis that I've just explained to you, it's publicly accessible.
You're trespassing. The fact it is publicly accessible is, in this case, utterly irrelevant to the point at issue.
Are you going to physically remove me? Are you going to physically remove me?
You'll notice how he was also carrying on a conversation with these people while flying his drone overhead. He's not very responsible, is he?
No? Then the conversation's over.
Yeah.
About time. They do need to stop talking to him and just wait for the police.
Landing.
If he asks you to remove me from this area and put me back to the roundabout, would you do that? If he gives you a request?
Don't answer, just remain silent and continue to observe and monitor his behaviour and report everything you see to the police when they arrive, if they arrive, and write up a statement. That's what this security guard needs to be doing. Don't engage.
As this security, site security.
If I told you everything before when you come.
We agreed. We agreed that the fence line, that's your jurisdiction there. So I've got no problem with you.
I didn't know that is private property.
You should know. You've been working here a long time. You've just admitted that you did not know where your site boundary is.
As explained, the position of the notional boundary is not very important. This is about where the highway is. I would expect a static security guard to know where the boundary is. It's something that should have been covered on his induction at the company. But as well as that, his induction should have covered the extent of the highway and who is and is not allowed to go where on and around the premises. It's pretty fundamental to his job.
You should know better.
One second.
You want me to wait quite a lot, don't you? Yeah?
I've muted most of that because DJ Audits has now just read out the security guard's name and SIA license number from the blue license card that he's wearing, which I think is pretty disgraceful. This man does not deserve to be treated like this. It's very disrespectful of somebody who is just trying to do a day's work. It reinforces why I don't agree with auditors that SIA licensed security guards should be required to display their license cards in the presence of auditors, because obviously this is going to be abused and many auditors have no compunction about reading out the details of the security guard, which is a flagrant breach of privacy in my opinion.
Right.
Have you been educated again?
No, this is my education.
It is.
We told you that this was a private property.
No, it's private land. It's publicly accessible.
It is private property.
Might
it's
be.
not public accessible. Do you see where our sign is?
On your, on this
Yes,
mud, on this
okay.
mud.
So our private property starts from there all the way out to this side. So can I please ask you to just stand at the back of that side, please?
Right, we're getting somewhere. Now,
Okay.
you're asking politely.
You've been asked politely numerous times already. I've lost count.
If I did move past that sign,
Yes.
my drone is still going over.
Move back there first and we'll reconsider the situation at that point. Personally, I think it's still trespass and aggravated trespass because I don't believe Stanham Way is a highway at all. But even if it is, it will still amount to an abuse and misuse of the common law highway rights. And second, because flying the drone over the site will involve capturing clear and detailed images on site in the face of the owner's objections.
Well, with a drone, obviously we're spoken to with someone. There's not much we could do. So what I'm asking you to do is just go behind that sign.
Why don't you complete that sentence? So I will go behind that sign if it makes you happier. Yeah, because you're not going to go back to work and I'm wasting Taylor Wimpey's time.
We're wasting everyone's time.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I'm not doing no harm here. And either way, hold on.
I disagree. Any unlawful interference is a trespass, whether intentional or not, and whether malicious or not. And all trespass harms the owner if it is left unchecked because it potentially erodes the owner's property rights. I'm not here calling for some sort of oppressive manifesto in which every trespass is stamped on. People can trespass on land for all sorts of reasons, but the actions of DJ Audits are an abuse and involve harassing the company and its staff.
Either way, the drone is going to continue its flight and get the footage it needs. I've done all my filming from here. So you've not achieved anything, but if it makes you happier...
I mean, what do you gain from doing all
Money.
this stuff?
I'm getting paid to make this video.
It's not the first time DJ Audits has been so brazen in stating his motives. You heard what he said. He's not there for any sort of public good. He's not there to advance your rights. If anything, he's abusing, undermining and eroding our rights by his actions. He must be made accountable and made to pay.
But you're getting paid on someone's property.
You're trying to stop me getting paid.
It's just like me having a drone and coming over your property, your private property at home, and taking a drone footage. Would you allow me to do that?
At home?
Yes. Would you allow me to do that?
Well, when my wife's in the garden sunbathing.
Well, right. So now we have a section. No, look, that's not the point. What I'm trying to.
What's the point then? What's the point in saying
What I'm trying to get you, but that's someone's private property.
It's a business.
This is another point on which auditors and their defenders think they're being clever. They argue that someone's home, a domestic property, is availed of privacy for its occupants because it's their home, whereas a business doesn't have any privacy. This is one of those arguments that superficially sounds convincing, but when you stop and really think about it, it doesn't hang together and the law does not support it either. Companies and businesses do have privacy, and their owners, managers and workers have privacy because they're people just like you and me. Moreover, a company is a legal person and therefore the law recognises that a company may have an action in privacy. There is case law on this at the European level that I've already previously discussed in my videos. So here we have another point that DJ Audits, other auditors and all their fans dismiss with contempt, when in fact it's actually correct. Business premises can have just as many intimate privacy concerns as someone's home. Why is that considered a strange argument?
But still, it's a private business. It's not your business.
What's your point? Shouldn't I be flying the drone over it?
No, you shouldn't be flying
a drone.
a drone.
You still believe that? I'm not moving then, because you've not got over that fact. You're trying to restrict a drone flight. You're trying to move somebody off public...
When you go past that, there's nothing I can do.
Not going past there now.
Just to be clear about something, I'm not necessarily suggesting that a drone user can't fly his drone over private premises and even capture images of what's going on there, and he could do this without the consent of the owner, and potentially this could be legal. What makes DJ Audits' actions questionable is the general motive and his behaviour, and his arrogance and disregard for other people's pleas to him and their rights. A legitimate drone user would not usually behave in this way. DJ Audits is capturing this footage for the purpose of harassing these people.
I just said to you, I'm happy to go past that sign. No, we're not backtracking. I just said to you, I'll give you a chance, an opportunity. I was happy to go past the sign if you just allow the drone to fly over and all go back to work. I didn't want anyone's time being wasted.
You've already been told multiple times that you can do that. You're just messing around and playing games.
Nothing I could do to stop you.
Yeah, but then you carried on. You shouldn't be doing it private. What if I did it over your house? Disrespecting me once again. You're wasting my time now.
And that's his opinion, and he happens to be right. I know this is hard for auditors to accept, but people have opinions that aren't the same as the opinions of auditors. You could have walked back to the roundabout right at the start.
Okay, I'm not wasting your time. Now, please,
you are.
would you
I'll
do
decide
me a
that.
favour? We'll just go behind that, please.
No, thank you. Your opportunity is gone.
Eh?
No.
Please go back to work. You're wasting company time. I'm not doing any harm here, and I'm not inside your perimeter fence.
Our perimeter fence starts from that.
Where?
You can see the
so your perimeter fence starts from there. Where is it? Where's your perimeter fence?
No. The perimeter sign for Taylor Wimpey starts
It's not
from there.
a welcome sign. It's on the grass.
It's still...
Does it say, no public past this point? Does it say that?
It doesn't have to. There doesn't have to be a barrier, fence or gate, nor should there be, because industrial traffic, lorries, other large vehicles will have to get through, as well as staff and authorised visitors, and it's usual that the fence is set behind the boundary, as here.
doesn't say any public sign, but obviously we can't allow visitors in there, can we?
We've got a reception for a reason. Anyone can go up there and inquire about vacancies or ask about company information.
Yes, of course they can, but if they're also going to reception to record without prior permission for the purpose of harassing and provoking staff in order to make a YouTube video, that's clearly a trespass from the outset. Members of the public do have implied permission to enter the site if they have proper business with the company. You don't.
No,
Are you telling me public are not welcome in your reception?
Difficult. No, you seriously. No,
You just said we don't allow people past our fence. Of course you can.
Look, now you're being difficult.
Please, let's not patronise each other any further.
not.
The only person who is being patronising here is you, DJ Audits. You're insufferable.
Wait, no, not doing
Back
it.
to
Would
work,
you do me a
please.
favour, please, and just go behind there
No,
and you
thank
do
you.
whatever you want to do?
No, your opportunity for that option has passed. It's expired. I'm now going to carry on with my video. It's all harmless. It's only for YouTube, just so I can make some money on a new building. That's all.
Again, confirming his true motive.
Oh, I've not brought somebody else out, has it? Is he above you, or are you above?
Sorry?
They don't want me to make a YouTube video.
You're DJ Audits?
I'm DJ Audits, yeah. Hello, mate.
Nice to meet you. I check all your channels.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So all I do, tell them, all
Yes.
I do is make videos of businesses, don't I?
Yes.
That's it. Just tell them for me.
Yes. I tell like I know exactly what you're doing.
Thank
I say
you.
like I subscribe to your channel.
Thank you.
I know what you're doing.
And I don't come on the site, do I?
Yes.
I never come on the site. So they're calling the
I try to
police.
explain it.
There's a camera live now.
Yeah, you'll all be on YouTube.
To which they have not given consent, and they are at work, and he is on company premises without permission and trespassing. Now and then, auditors run into their fans who like what they do. It's just interesting that those people are only a small minority of the people they target. Most of their victims are not happy about being recorded, and are not even given a chance to provide informed consent. At some point, DJ Audits should be complying with Article 13 of the UK GDPR and providing these people with his identity and stating the purpose of his visit and the recording, because this is data processing. He has stated the purpose, but he should also provide his name and address, and of course, he won't be doing that.
Acting fools. Not you, but the rest of them.
It's fine. Like
Not very polite.
Well, he's on the phone to the police now. If you had seen how I've been treated, you'll know why I'm taking this stance now.
DJ Audits has been treated with professionalism and civility throughout. He's the one trespassing.
Not on you, but on 1, 2, 3. Not you, mate. You're fine.
you know, like I'm saying.
Him who don't even is unsure where the site boundary is. At first you got it right, but then you started to believe him.
So what? It's nothing to do with it.
I told you where's the boundaries.
Yeah, you was right. But these have convinced you otherwise.
No, you've been given the correct information and you are choosing to ignore it.
And now you're here.
Yeah.
Don't know what. I don't know what that guy was doing. He tried to stop the drone from taking off. Getting too close to defend myself. Pushing back.
Ibrahim, do you want to log into your WhatsApp, please?
So are the police being called or not?
We can. You want me to prove that we're a boundary stance?
Let me ask an independent person who doesn't know what's going on. Am I on your site right now?
Right here from that right away.
Yet another staff member confirms the information that DJ Audits has been told multiple times and refuses to accept because it doesn't suit his agenda.
So you believe him. That's fine. Security believes otherwise. I believe otherwise. Upon arrival, we had a nice chat, very polite and respectful.
If you go over there, that's public land. You can do what you want over there.
How many times has DJ Audits been told that? A ridiculous number of times. That's how many.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's just literally on the side of the roundabout.
Yeah, you're not restricting movement in this area, are you?
No, but I'm saying you can go over the other side of the roundabout. It's public land. So there's
But by your own admission, you're not restricting movement in this public area.
This is our access road in.
Yeah,
So,
your restriction is clearly
so all
marked.
I'm trying to do is be helpful and say, look, if you went literally 50 yards, you're on public land.
Okay, so in you've just arrived. Okay, so let's say I go behind your sign on the public land,
You start all
as
over
agreed,
again.
as agreed by yourself. I'm trying to get somewhere and you're walking off, so
He's right to walk off. The rest of them should have done that as soon as they realised who DJ Audits was and what he was doing. They had to engage with him, but once they'd established what he was up to, they should have retreated behind the fence, closed the gates and waited for the police. Engaging with auditors for any length of time is nearly always a mistake.
you don't stand by your word that much, do you? See what I mean? I've had enough, guys. I'm carrying on.
You want me to prove to you, right? Okay. Can you see with the drawing? No, that was a bit.
Do you want to zoom in?
Hold on, yeah. Okay. Okay, you see where the drawing, you see where the runabout is?
Zoom in.
Okay. You see?
Yeah, well, what I'll do, I'll take a photo of that screen and then I can zoom in, yeah?
Oh, not allowed to, I'm not allowed to have you to take a photo. Just have a look. Can you see? You see that?
No, it's too
that
small,
runabout? Can you see the runabout?
It is too small, but okay, so let's just
It's
say...
in the roundabout. So this will say, you have to go and do whatever you got to do, but please go 50 meters away from what you're standing. Behind that sign, please.
He's even saying please. How many times does he have to be asked?
I tried to do that with you, but then I said, it won't stop the drone flight.
That's fine. There's nothing we could do to stop you.
Yeah, but you attempted it once again to
Yeah,
restrict me and argue with me.
No.
He's entitled to say what he said. It's nothing to do with it. You've been told and told, and all you're doing is just arguing on purpose so that you've got a video for YouTube. That's the only reason for your visit to this company.
I can't just be a pushover and just say...
We're not being a pushover. You know,
I
we're
would
not
have
being a
been, because not only do you want me to move back, you don't want me to fly over either.
Well, obviously, when you're there, when you're down the park, there's where you fly over. There's nothing we can do. So, I mean, for the purposes of what our discussion now, this is a private land. You have to go back to that place.
Okay, so on the crossing, yeah?
Yes.
Stand on the crossing.
Please.
Right, there we go.
Thank you.
Now you're a bit more respectful to me, not just dictating, do this, because you thought you was right on the first thing, yeah? And you wasn't reasonable enough to say, I could be educated. You said, I won't be educated. I'll call the police and all this, that.
What education can you give anybody? We're talking about the company's property rights. It's not a matter of negotiation. Yes, if you were a genuine person, maybe there wouldn't be all this fuss, but you're not.
But I can't have that behaviour towards me all the time. I have to stand up for myself, that's all.
You've obviously got the problem then, because you're ignoring the massive fact that you shouldn't be there at all.
But we've got there in the end. I think you're okay now.
This is somebody who accuses other people of being patronising.
I'll stand on the crossing. I can still have my line of sight, and I'll get out your way. I don't think I was obstructing the business anyway on the pavement.
Okay. I'll just leave it as that. But yeah, if you could do that for me.
Yeah. No problem. When people are respectful, it has to go both ways, you know?
They were respectful to you from the start. You're the one who is being disrespectful.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Did you say your name?
No.
Okay, no, I didn't know if you said it or not.
No,
But my name's DJ anyway. Nice to meet you.
He put his name on the screen, so I blurred it out.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think at the end he deserved a little bit of respect there, you know. He showed me the red line, which does go up to here, but they've made no attempt to tell members of the public that at all.
That's because the public usually don't go down there, and those that do are normal people who have something called common sense. Specifically, they don't go round harassing innocent people with cameras and drones.
Look, nothing on the sign, no public access past this point, or right like that.
And there doesn't have to be, and you were asked repeatedly by different staff members to retreat to that position where you are stood now.
Okay, let's carry on. Let's get David up and see what this place looks like from above. So there we are, 40 metres now off their private land. I don't think they would have gone back to work, and I'm not too happy with wasting company time if it can just be resolved easily.
Well, you've wasted half an hour of company time already, so why not waste some more? In my opinion, the entirety of Stanham Way is a private street, so DJ Audits is still trespassing, but even if he isn't, by turning up and filming in such an obnoxious manner and flying the drone that way, he is exceeding the common law highway rights. So again, that is a trespass, and now we have an aerial trespass that is also an aerial aggravated trespass.
So, let's carry on. So they'll have lots of timber stored inside and out, I presume. And inside the timber structure, do they need pipe?
He's zooming in and capturing images up close.
Security is still on the phone.
He's also flying pretty low as well.
Still on the case. is that the contents of a whole house there, all flat packed, ready to be delivered onto site and put up, erected. There's more wood.
I've mentioned about how Article 8 privacy rights apply to companies. This is arguably an actionable breach of a company's privacy.
Stored outside because it's apparently got a waterproof packaging around it.
I think it's pretty unequivocal at this point that he is flying too low, showing a complete disregard for the company's privacy and the privacy and data rights of staff and visitors, and that this is an aerial trespass and quite possibly an aerial aggravated trespass.
Here we go. Good job I can see the drone very well from here. Scrap bits of wood in there, look. I bet some of you watching could make quite a lot of stuff out of that. But it goes for recycling either way, doesn't it? 2 silos for the sprinkler system. And then we get to see how big the place is. Look at that. There's another train going past. Quite a nice view, that. The housing estate that we saw earlier. It was nice to see a viewer who came to grab a key ring. I think that might be him there, waving at the drone.
Now it's a close-up of all the staff sitting outside. No regard for their privacy either.
Hello, my friend. You're on the telly. And then a little look down here at all the car park spaces that they've got. Look, far too many. If they've made it so automated inside, you don't need as many staff parking spaces, do you? There's the outside emergency access. They have another picnic table down there. And they do have electric vehicle charging. And they are respecting the disabled parking bays, look. So that will do. That's all we wanted to do, my friend. Make a little video. Show people the new building.
And nobody was stopping you. Whether they understood the scope of your drone activity and that you would be as intrusive as that is another matter. In my view, everything you've done just there is open to question.
The state of the site, the professionalism of any staff that we interact with.
And who is auditing you and your professionalism? I think it's high time the criminal courts did.
And that does conclude the video from Taylor Wimpey Manufacturing. At least we met a viewer, a subscriber, who could vouch for us and calm them down. But they were so obsessed with people standing within their land registry boundary, but they don't want to make any effort to inform people that they're walking into it.
You were told what to do and you ignored their instructions.
They just want to cry when you're in it. Not good, Taylor Wimpey. Doing no harm, was I?
I think you were. Trespass on Stanham Way and or the access way to site, aggravated trespass, aerial trespass, aerial aggravated trespass, assault by beating, a Section 5 public order offence, eavesdropping without lawful authority on a radio communication not meant for general reception, contrary to Section 48(1) of the Wireless Telegraphy Act 2006, harassment of a corporate person, namely Taylor Wimpey, through a course of conduct that involved visiting their premises at least twice and uploading 2 videos about them, harassment of a corporate person, again Taylor Wimpey, through a course of conduct that involved harassing staff with the aim of trying to persuade Taylor Wimpey not to do something it was entitled to do, namely enforce its entry conditions, and to do something it was not under any obligation to do, namely permit trespass and breaches of privacy, harassment of multiple natural persons through a course of conduct that involved visiting premises and uploading videos, harassment of multiple natural persons through a course of conduct that involved harassing such persons with the aim of trying to persuade them not to do something they were entitled to do, namely enforce entry conditions and do things they were not under any obligation to do, namely permit trespass and breaches of privacy, persistent use of a public electronic communications network, namely social media, with the aim of causing annoyance and needless anxiety to another. The police knew he was there on the business park.
The police having a good look.
What are they doing about it? I don't expect anybody to sympathise with Taylor Wimpey. I don't. They're a big company. I'm not saying I like them, but none of that is the point. Legitimate vloggers, photographers and drone operators rely on goodwill from businesses and the public, which DJ Audits and other auditors are selfishly jeopardising every time they go out and behave like this. They are eroding our rights. The larger point is maintenance of law. Harassment is unacceptable, no matter who the victim is. The impunity being shown to DJ Audits by the authorities cannot and should not be allowed to continue if the law is to mean something.
Just showing people your new fantastic facility. And there he is, the boss. Just going into that office door there. Back to work. And I tried to get him back to work quite a few times. It's finally happened.
It's about time you got back to work. Permanently this time.